Today we're going to review three-dimensional figures and learn about nets. To start off with, we're going to talk about the prism. Highlight the word prism. It's a three-dimensional figure with two parallel and congruent bases. Highlight two parallel and congruent bases. The other faces are rectangles. Highlight rectangles. The height of a prism is the length that connects the two bases at a right angle. The shape of the base determines the name of the prism. Highlight that sentence. The shape of the base determines the name of the prism. If we look at this first shape here, we can see that the two parallel and congruent bases would be the triangles. So highlight in your triangle. And because we name the shape based on its base, and all the other faces are rectangles, that makes this a triangular prism. If we were to unfold this shape, that would create the net, the two-dimensional representation of the three-dimensional shape. And we're going to draw the net right here. So it's got three rectangles, so we can draw our three rectangles. And then it has the two triangular bases, and we would draw those. And this would be the two-dimensional representation of this three-dimensional shape. The next shape, its two parallel and congruent bases, would be the hexagon. Highlight in your hexagon. Because it has a hexagon base, and we name the shape by its base, and the other faces are rectangles, this will be a hexagonal prism. To draw its net, its two-dimensional representation, we're going to need 6 rectangles. And off of the rectangles, we're going to need the base, the hexagonal base. And then we need the other base. Our other shape, as we can see, is made up of rectangles. It's going to have a rectangle base. Highlight in your rectangle base. Because it has a rectangle base and all of the other faces are rectangles, it is a rectangular prism. And to draw our rectangular prism net, we're going to need 4 rectangles. And then we'll need our rectangle bases. See how these sides look a little bit smaller, so I drew those a little bit smaller. Okay, then we move on to the pyramids. Highlight the word pyramid. It's a three-dimensional figure with one base. Highlight that it has one base. The other faces are triangles that meet at one point called the vertex. So the other faces are triangles. Highlight triangles, and it has a vertex. Highlight vertex. The height of the pyramid is the distance from the vertex to the base. The shape of the base determines the name of the pyramid. Highlight that sentence. The shape of the base determines the name of the pyramid. So if we look at our first example here, its base is a triangle. Highlight in your triangle. All the other faces are also triangles. That's why it's a pyramid. So this is going to be our triangular pyramid. To draw its net, it's kind of easier to draw this net if you will just draw one big triangle and then divide it up into littler triangles so that we have our base and then our 3 other triangles to make our net. Our next pyramid has a square base, one square base. So highlighting your square base. Because it has a square base, this is the square pyramid because all the other faces are triangles. And to draw its net, you just need to draw your square base and then draw triangles coming out in all directions. And our last pyramid, its base has 8 sides, and an 8-sided polygon is called the octagon. And we name the pyramid by its base. So we're going to go ahead and highlight in the octagonal base. And that makes this the octagonal pyramid. And to draw its net, we need to draw an octagon. And then triangles coming off Now, for the next page of the notes, we are going to look at the nets numbered 1 through 7 on the other page. So you'll see on this other page, the nets are numbered 1 through 7. And we're going to start with the first net, right here, number 1. And it's made up of all squares. So this will be our cube. We're going to highlight in its 2 square bases. So take your highlighter. The bases, remember, are parallel from each other and they are congruent. Okay, and we're going to use this net. This is our net, our unfolded 3-dimensional figure, and we're going to fill in the notes on the other page. So number 1 is a cube. And if we draw it in its 3D shape, it's kind of easy to draw it. If you draw a square, offset your square, and connect the vertices. So we get a cube. The shape of its base that we highlighted on the other page was this square. And it has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. If we go back, we're going to look for figure number 2 now. And figure number 2 is